I'm Babla Jonathan, and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Équinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. In our top stories in this edition of the news, inhabitants of several parts of Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, are begging administrative and council authorities to take away what they qualify as an impending doom. Standing at their doorsteps, the risk of electrocution provoked by falling poles is a major problem, now considered as a death trap in several parts of the town of Douala. We shall take you to Oyak neighborhood in this newscast, and we shall also talk about traders of the Douala Central Market who are at daggers drawn with the city council over disorder and air pollution, according to them provoked by inappropriate construction of stores in the market by municipal authorities. Trade unions of traders in the Douala Central Market have stood up against the city council over disorder and air pollution, which according to them are problems emanating from inappropriate construction of stores in that market by municipal authorities. They are calling on the authorities to stop the anarchical construction of stores in order to take away the problems that they are facing in their daily activities as a result of that. Sumanji can give a report.
Business persons at the Douala Central Market at loggerheads with council officials. The syndicate of the market is decrying the fact that every day new structures are being constructed in the market in a haphazard manner. There are staircases which are used for emergency cases, which have now been transformed into stores. You will lock your store on a Saturday night and only to return on Monday to see that a store is being constructed around your store. The ongoing construction has made it very difficult for air to circulate freely, and the area could suffocate those using the market space. The Douala Central Market, if you look at it keenly, if an accident occurs, one can't escape because of the way stores are being constructed. A request dropped by Equinoxe Television at the office of the city mayor of Douala on the 15th of July to know the reason for the ongoing construction within the market space till date has not been replied. Constructed in the late 1980s, the Douala Central Market is already facing several challenges with its structures already aging out.
In the Senegal Maritime Division, littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon, fishermen are lamenting over what they have nicknamed Boko Haram. It has nothing to do with terrorists, but a species of grass that has invaded Lake Osa, and they are calling on the authorities that be, the competent authorities, to take adequate measures in order to take away these major stumbling block to the activity of fishing in that lake. Immaculate Fogo reports.
Mayole, yele, mama yole.
Fishing, an activity which used to be a very lucrative business for fishermen in Adia in the Senegal Maritime Division, is now witnessing some loopholes due to the invasion of the Lake Osa by a plant called Salvina molester, popularly called by the fishermen as Boko Haram. The plant, which has formed dense vegetation marks the lake, reduces water flow, lowers light and oxygen levels in the water, thus affecting the biodiversity and abundance of freshwater species, including fresh fish and submerged aquatic plants. The invasion of the Lake Osa by the Salvina molester plant is greatly affecting fishing, making the activity extremely difficult.
Les difficultés qu'on rencontre, il n'y a pas autre difficulté que la salvinie.
The indiscriminate catch of fish and the abandonment of fishing equipment in the lake is equally posing a great threat to marine life. Not every fisherman or woman is using the required net, and it is affecting the ecosystem's diversity. The type of fishing techniques equally used by the fishermen is equally affecting the activity. We have been sensitizing the population to use the required fishing net. Some of them have heeded to the call, while others do not. In order to limit the causes of unsustainable fishing practices at the Osa Lake, a conservation service and local non-governmental organizations are now piloting initiatives that can engage local communities in the co-management of the lake.
De la réserve de faune puisqu'aujourd'hui elle est sérieusement menacée.
We are here to fight against the invasion of the lake by the Salvina molester plant. We initiated a cleanup campaign and we have been able to remove 100 tons of the plants from the lake. We have equally been able to remove some non-biodegradable nets that were abandoned in the lake. A lot more has to be done.
Au terme de ces activités de nettoyage, nous avons eu à retirer une quantité de plus de...
Fishermen in the area are being called upon to carry out fishing techniques that won't negatively affect the ecosystem.
The attribute Boko Haram given to the species of plant Salvinia molesta speaks volumes of the impact of that activity or the plant on fishing in Lake Osa in the Sanaga Maritime Division littoral region of Cameroon, and another Boko Haram staring at the population or the people of the economic capital of Cameroon, Douala, in the face is the risk of electrocution. Falling poles are now qualified by inhabitants as a death trap, and in many parts of the neighborhood, the poles on the ground, the electric cables on the ground, some of them are still transporting electric energy and posing a serious problem of risk of electrocution. And we are taking you to the Oyak neighborhood, which is a case in point in this newscast.
Children, adults at the risk of electrocution in Momfebe neighborhood in Oyak Douala 3 subdivision. This road is used by almost all inhabitants of the area on daily basis. As they move out of their homes, it becomes almost impossible to avoid the danger looming here. The electric poles nearly killed a child the day they fell. He adds that the electric poles in the neighborhood are old and dilapidated. She says the poles have been close to the ground for about 2 weeks. Some of the poles are suspended on the roof of her shop. Part of the roof was damaged by the falling poles. Parts of the roof was damaged by the falling poles, and several homes have been deprived of electric energy. Efforts of the quarter head and other inhabitants who have contacted competent authorities have yielded no results this far. Inhabitants of Oyak are begging on officials of the electricity production and distribution companies to save them from what they qualify as an impending doom.
The practical fees of the General Certificate of Education GC examinations are ongoing across the national territory, and in the Douala 5 or Douala 4 subdivision, examiners say the examinations are unfolding hitch-free, and of course the students continue taking part in the practical phase of the GC today in the Douala 4 subdivision as elsewhere across the national territory. Innocent as a report.
Bonaberry, the GCE exams kicked off in serenity in some of the schools visited, though one of the examination officials, Chief of Atlanta Bilingual College Accommodation Center, talks of some irregularities recorded.
We have different specialties, writing, and today we continue still with computer science and then industrial specialties for intermediate exams. So the practicals kicked on well, and this morning it continued on still well, except a few irregularities, like candidates that we have been called to admit to write who has some irregularities. They were not officially candidates to write here, but we have been instructed to take them to write so that they will sort out the issues at the level of the board.
Examiner supervising the intermediate technical certificate for electrical power system talks of effectiveness of the exams.
We are in the first paper, electrical machine. We are already in the second phase of our paper. We are to do the manipulation. Now students are to realize this practical diagram in their breadboard in order to connect it and have the table value, the value of content that will enable them to do the report and the conclusion.
The technical GCE here continued with practicals in different fields like building and construction, electrical engineering, material technology, motor mechanics, and so on.
I'm Ciliana Bula. I'm trying to construct a structure. It is made of blocks and a small hole. I always like to build. When I look at people building, I enjoy them very well. Building has been my passion. I've loved to build just from childhood. Many have the thoughts that girls are not supposed to do building. I want to challenge you that that is not the right thing.
Other ladies tackle material and technology and motor mechanics respectively.
I have passion for the trade. I've seen that in many trades there are many girls. So I want to challenge women that I can also do the same thing that men can do too.
I'm Faith and I'm from Atlanta. My field is motor mechanics. What really motivated me in the trade is how they work, the parts. When you put your mind in it and you're focused in it, everything is very easy.
Ngesong Charles Bilingual High School Mabanda is another accommodation center visited. Exams began hitch-free, though with 2 absentees. Students started with construction process and building practice.
Survey Lawrence, in this accommodation center we have 33 candidates, but as of now we have 2 cases of absentees that we have not received any information about them so far, but so far everything is going on well.
To the candidates, all started well.
I'm called Kitchen Gislen Pen. Everybody arrived safely, everybody is present. No accident, everything is going well. All our equipment, the one that we needed, that has been provided for us today.
I'm called Tracy Thelma. We are arranging our materials to begin with the construction process. I have so many of my uncles that are builders, and I used to admire them and say, no, I want to be like them.
Examinations in these visited centers proceed with scrupulous respect of COVID-19 barrier measures.
Some parents in the Mongo Division, littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon, are decrying what they qualify as discriminatory treatment of some pupils of the English subsystem of education going in for official exams in the Mongo Division. And some of the parents were speaking today in Lowe as their children had to brave several challenges to sit for the first school leaving certificate examination. For me, I'm Sanda reports.
The first day for the written parts of the first school leaving certificate examination was rather tense for candidates and parents in Lohe village in the Mongo division of the littoral region of Cameroon. The parents are angry over what they qualify as a repeated discriminatory treatment of kids taking the Anglo-Saxon examination in the locality.
I want to know why Anglo-Saxon kids are not allowed to write here, whereas they, like their mates of the French subsystem of education, will all study in this same secondary school after their examination. Why must they be moved to different places year in, year out? There are a lot of these issues that we are not happy with. We discuss this issue almost all the time and have even gone as far as making extra financial efforts to resolve this problem, but nothing has changed. They don't understand why their kid taking the first school living certificate examination will not be allowed to write at Lohe like their mates, writing the equivalent in the French subsystem of education. We have always raised this problem. Imagine 40 of our kids had to be packed into a taxi, a township taxi carrying 40 kids. Can you imagine? Their anger is further compounded by the fact that their kids, forced to ride in a center 6 kilometers away from home, have been abandoned by school officials. Kids had to go and write their examination today, but their teachers and school officials have abandoned them with their parents. The PTA has done nothing about it. The abandoned kids will later be bundled in a hired vehicle against all anti-COVID-19 preventive measures and taken to the examination center in Manjo. At the government high school Manjo, 369 candidates expected for the baccalaureate examination answered present. In strict respect to anti-COVID-19 measures, the exercise proper began at 8 a.m. with literature. Candidates were grouped into 24-page classrooms with proper hand washing and the wearing of face masks strictly implemented.
For me, I'm Strong Sander, putting an end to the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is up next. We are joined today by a human rights advocate, a women's rights advocate. Christelle B4 is the executive director of the Hope for the Needy Foundation, joining us from the United Kingdom. Thanks for joining us today. All right, we are glad to receive you today, and we're going to be talking about the rights of women in the Republic of Cameroon. You are a women's rights advocate, and for some time you have been striving, working on the ground to put an end to the violations of the rights of women. Christelle B4, what is the situation on the ground in Cameroon as far as the rights of women and girls is concerned? Some communication issues there with Christelle B joining us from the United Kingdom, and as I indicated earlier, she is a women's rights advocate, and she is the executive director of Hope for the Needy Foundation, and for some time she has been on the ground in the Republic of Cameroon, striving to enhance the respect of the rights of women and girls at a time when there is serious violations being indicated by human rights defenders, notably in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, region that has been in a socio-political and security crisis for close to 4 years today. And there are indications that Christelle B4 is now connected with us from the United Kingdom. You are a women's rights advocate. Thanks for joining us today. Unfortunately, the connection between Cameroon and the United Kingdom has some hitches, and there is hope that we're going to have Christelle B4 in this edition of the news, and we're going to be talking about the rights of women and girls in the Republic of Cameroon. She is a women's rights advocate, and for years she has been fighting to put an end to violations of the rights of women in the Republic of Cameroon, the right to education, the right to association, the right to life, and of course many other rights that are being violated, that are being abused, not only in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, but also in other parts of the country. And she has been at the front line fighting with her organization to put an end to this, and we are having some challenges there, hooking up with Christelle B, and of course we will be coming back to Christelle in our subsequent editions of the news, and we have indications from the technical booth that she is now connected.
Are sitting for the first school leaving certificate examination of the English system and the Certificat d'études primaires for the French system. This morning in Bamenda, panic gripped parents as they struggled amidst flying bullets to get their children to examination centers. This lady is still in shock. She explains her experience getting her brother to school from my 90.
What did they block the road? My 90 junction or what? My 90, that three corner, my 90, and that junction. The whole barricade on the way. That barricade that always parking to go and sit. Yes, because that market, all of that standing on the way. Like someone start walking, climbing all that hill now. I was somewhere with before I reached my junior brother, and he was among. You see one of that with the son, so it was not. It's as I was going to finish this going out to attack.
In 2019, Bafut was among the subdivisions that sent in no candidates. This year, the candidates are accompanied by Madame Christina Sonquine, Inspector for Basic Education.
We were expecting 60 and all of them are present. In fact, schools are not really functional, but parents who are so eager to train their children, they had home teachers, so they were carrying on out home teaching. That is why we had this opportunity to register this few. Last year, we had no candidate for Bafut. So with his presence this year, he was behind us, and we struggled and came out with this 60 for first school living and 4 for common entrance. And for the common entrance, the 4 all passed.
The study conditions of these pupils were as varied as their dreams.
I want to be a journalist. I want to be a musician and a dancer. A doctor. I want to be a brain doctor. I want to be a nurse.
This day, one of the examinations also saw the visit of Lawrence Ngwakongo, mayor of Bafut, to the 60 candidates from that area.
When I see them seated in the class, it takes me 30 years back when I equally passed through this exercise. And my environment by then was very peaceful. And seeing this number of children are struggling to have the second certificate in their life after their birth certificate, it is my priority to come in as the mayor of Bafut to encourage them and to make them have no fear. The Bafut Council has put in place 5 places for the best 5 people who will make it.
As a way of limiting the spread of the coronavirus, the pupils are obliged to wash their hands with soap and running water, wear a face mask, while their invigilators wear gloves in addition.
That was an Always correspondent, Stella, reporting there on official examinations in the northwest region of the country. And it should be noted that the students and pupils who are taking part in the General Certificate of Education GC and of course the First School Living Certificate are doing so in a tense atmosphere, in a high security atmosphere because of the 4-year-long crisis, the armed conflict hitting the northwest and the southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. In many parts of the two Anglophone regions, the northwest and the southwest regions, pupils and students have not been going to school. Schools have been shut down because of the crisis and the huge impact on education. While those who are managing to go to school and to take part in official examinations like the GCE and the first school leaving certificate examinations are doing so in an unstable security atmosphere. Now we have indications that Christelle B, for women's rights advocate, is now on the line to the United Kingdom. Thanks for joining us today. Unfortunately, we're not going to have Christelle B today. We are wrapping up this edition of the 6 p.m. news. Thanks for staying with us. Goodbye.